All right, good evening, everyone. A little bit different function tonight. I'm online versus being in person. The time is now 7 p.m., and I call to order our meeting for January 21st, 2026 City Council meeting. For all of you that can stand, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Excellent. Thank you, everyone. I will now turn it over to Amanda for roll call. Ms. Hogan.
Councilmember Dowdy.
Here.
Councilmember Frymark.
Here.
Councilmember Houston.
Here.
Councilmember Friend.
Here.
Councilmember DeLuz.
Here.
Councilmember Michelson.
Here.
And Councilmember JJ has called out sick this evening.
Motion to excuse Councilmember Burke.
Second.
So we have a first from Ms. Dowdy and a second from Ms. Michelson. Ms. Hogan.
Councilmember Dowdy.
Aye.
Councilmember Frymark.
Aye.
Councilmember Houston.
Aye.
Councilmember Friend.
Aye.
Councilmember DeLuz.
Aye.
Councilmember Michelson.
Aye.
All right, he is now excused. Moving into presentations and proclamation. Can I ask Chief Gibbs to come on up, who has a swearing in tonight?
Does this thing work?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So before we do this, I just want to thank some of the officers that are here tonight, off duty and on duty, obviously. We're swearing in an officer. This is fifth person I think I've hired, fifth or sixth. We're getting there. So Julie Doumit, I said that correctly? Okay, why don't you go ahead and come up. Julie is already been through the academy, so she just has to go through our training, and hopefully we'll have another officer on the road for our citizens. So I'm not going to stand in front of that. So go ahead and raise your right hand. I state your name.
Julie Doumit,
Do solemnly swear and affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States,
the Constitution and the laws of the state of Washington,
the Constitution and the laws of the state of Washington,
and the laws of the city of Woodland,
and the laws of the city of Woodland,
and that I will faithfully and impartially perform
that I faithfully and impartially perform
and discharge the duties of police officer
discharge the duties of an officer
for the city of Woodland
for the city of Woodland,
according to law,
according to law,
to the best of my ability.
the best of my ability.
This is yours. Thank you. Good luck. So,
Yes, Chief. We'll need pictures.
yes,
Come on.
I was gonna listen. I know what I'm doing. If Todd was here, he would say this and he'd take photos. But Julie, I'll take a photo with you. Then we'll get what our officers are here as well, and as well as your family. You can take photos. So, do we have a photo to take her? No, just one.
Travis.
How long? Where are we looking? How long?
I can take photos
Okay.
if you want me to.
Travis has it too. So. 10 minutes. I know Maggie sent stuff to the mayor, so. And then whoever, you guys want to come in here real quick? I mean, not do you want to, come in here. Yeah, it's fine, you're good. Something weird, let's mix it up. Well, I'm short, so I don't have to. Fine on that.
Can you guys squeeze in just a little bit more?
Sure, act like we're friends.
Very nice.
Why's your hand on your gun?
Very nice.
If you want to get some photos. Do you have a phone? Take it for you.
Gibbs.
Oh, you know what?
Family picture.
I made one mistake. Sorry, I don't do this too often. You need a badge on your who's pinning you? No, you're good. This is why I have great officers that keep me accountable and call me out when I make mistakes. Thank you, Officer Shaka.
They need a family picture too.
Yeah, we'll bring that first.
Excellent. Thank you, Chief. Welcome, Officer Doumit. I really look forward to meeting you, having you part of our community. We are very much pro the police guild and the police officers here. So welcome to the city of Woodland, and we look forward to your service in our community. All right. With that, let's move into citizen communications for items not on the agenda. I understand that there is no sign up on there right now for items not on the agenda. Is there anyone in the room or online that would like to speak for items not on the agenda?
We have nobody.
Okay, with that, we will move into agenda approval.
Motion to approve agenda.
Second.
We have a first from Ms. Dowdy and a second from Mr. Houston. Any questions or comments from the community or anyone on council regarding tonight's agenda? Hearing or seeing none, Ms. Hogan.
Councilmember Dowdy,
Aye.
Councilmember Freimark,
Aye.
Councilmember Houston,
Aye.
Councilmember Friend,
Aye.
Councilmember DeLuz,
Aye.
Councilmember Michelson.
Aye.
All right, moving into reports of standing committees, public safety meeting. Who will be reporting out on that tonight?
I will.
Ms. Dowdy.
All right, tonight our public safety met at 5:33. In attendance was Chief, Councilmember Houston, Councilmember DeLuz, and myself. Our first order of business was electing a chair for public safety, and that will be myself. We also talked about the SRO modified MOU that will be on tonight's agenda for us to kind of just fix the payroll side of things. And also wanted to welcome our new officer. That fills us with only one opening left, and we hope to begin interviews for that position in February. And the one exciting thing about our new officer is we did not have to send them to the academy, so that was great on the city. And our next meeting will be Monday, the 16th of February at 5:30, and we adjourned at 5:47.
Excellent. Thank you. Any questions or comments from council or the community? Anything else you would like to throw in, Chief Gibbs?
He's not in here.
Oh, he left us. All right. Excellent. Any other items related to public safety? All right. Human resources.
That'll be me, Mr. Mayor. Human Resources met at 6:04 p.m. this afternoon. We discussed the city employees in general. Can you hear me a little better now? Yeah. Started at 6:04 p.m. We discussed the city employees in general and what is going on. As far as we can tell, there are no public complaints that haven't been resolved. We have 42 employees on staff, including our police department, and our public works.
Right next to your mouth.
Well, if I can get closer.
There you go.
Okay, I kind of speak a little bit quieter anyway, so I apologize for that, folks. Like I say, the city personnel is running smoothly. We have a lot of competent people out there doing a good job. Even our new hires hit the ground running here, and we are very appreciative of their services on it. We have one outstanding position for a police officer, and all other positions are filled within the city. Close the meeting at 6:14, and the next one will be 16th.
Excellent. Any comments or questions related to human resources from Councilmember Freimark? All right. Moving into the Finance Committee.
Finance met tonight at 6 o'clock. In attendance were Councilmember Houston, myself, and Terry. Just a couple items on the agenda. The 2025 annual financial reports in progress so that we'll meet the state auditor's May reporting deadline. The city payroll is transitioning still from Vision to Tyler Tech, and the payroll team is busy working on parallel payrolls to make sure that everything syncs up so we can make that transition successfully and accurately. And utility billing is still on track to transition back to the city later this year. We adjourned at 6:10, and the next meeting is on February 16th.
Excellent. Any questions for Councilmember Friend? All right, with that, let's move into reports of City Council. Any council members have anything?
Yeah,
Hearing none.
Mr. Mayor.
Oh, go ahead.
I'll speak up about the gun club renovation project. It is actually getting started out there. Believe it or not, we've had some bad weather, a lot of rain, and some cold spells here. The rain makes it really muddy and messed up for the guys to be working on it, and the cold spells make pouring concrete difficult. They don't want to work in really cold weather below freezing, so you can understand why they have to have delays on that. It's coming along. They're putting ADA on and off ramps on the street now. That I think that's about 3/8 to a half a mile in length, and it's going to be a bit of a project. Residents out there are going to be really appreciative when it gets done. Really appreciate it when it gets done, because it's there's a lot of potholes in that street. Other than that, residents in Woodland East Manufactured Home Committee want to thank the city and the project participants and who pushed that along, because that's we got a lot of senior citizens out there, and when you get a little older, you get a little more feeble and you feel every bump. Yeah, I think you know what I mean. So thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Ms. Dowdy.
I just want to thank our citizens who wrote in for some public comment that weren't able to come tonight. This is probably some of the most feedback I think we've had from citizens for things on the agenda, and I really think that that just goes to say a lot about our citizens really starting to engage, even if they're not able to come to the meetings. So I appreciated the feedback.
I would like to say too that if you're going to write something in, at least make it to where we can respond, not use a email address that's not valid.
I have something I would like to add. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay. Again, I am doing a cleat program. It's called Play It Forward. Lewis River Little League is accepting signups and registration right now. I have a program going where kids can come to me and get cleats. So it goes both ways. If you have cleats that your kids have outgrown, if you wouldn't mind bringing them to Thirsties for a donation for a child to potentially use. Also, if you have a kiddo that is going to be playing Little League and they need cleats and you can't quite afford them, we have plenty right now. So go ahead and swing by Thirsties and we can see if we have any cleats that will fit your kiddo. If we are not there, go ahead and shoot us a message on Facebook and we'll arrange a time to meet you. So we're accepting donations and we're giving out donations. Just wanted to remind everyone for that.
Excellent. Thank you. Anything else from council? All right, hearing none, we'll move into reports of advisory committees, starting with Chamber. Keith was not able to make it tonight, but he sent in his report. So let me go through this here with you. As a reminder to our community and city council members, each Tuesday morning at 7:30 a.m., they do their legislative calls. Tuesday the 20th was Representative Arbano. Next week, they will have another individual at 7:30 a.m. via Zoom. Anyone is welcome to attend. This Friday night is the Chamber Installation Banquet and Awards Ceremony at doors open at 5:30 p.m. They'll announce the new members of the board and present awards for Business of the Year, Employee of the Year, and Citizens of the Year. Also, Chamber After Hours event will be held February 19th at the Woodland Historical Museum. Any other questions, feel free to reach out to Keith and members of the Chamber. Questions or comments on that report for them? Okay, hearing none, we'll move into Downtown Woodland Revitalization Report. Ms. Simpson, are you in the house?
We have Mrs. Brown tonight.
Oh,
to me,
welcome,
Katie
Mrs.
Brown.
I apologize.
Hi, no worries. I'm Katie Brown. I'm the vice president of the DWR. We just wanted to come up and let everyone know we're getting rolling for 2026. We've had our first board meeting in January. We have over 500 followers on our Facebook page, and our website is just growing and growing. So we've got a lot of engagement, and online we are already starting to build hype for our upcoming summer movie series and hot summer nights. And the community is really responding, giving us lots of great ideas for movies and things going forward. So we're excited for a great year, and we're looking for community participation. Just follow us on Facebook, and we're going to be keeping people posted on how to get involved.
Question. I'm just curious if there's been additional conversation with DWR regarding the potential of a welcome center or anything, any conversations happening in that realm.
Within our group?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, as you know, we've applied for the remainder of the LTAC funding, and as far as a welcome center goes, we are very much open to that idea, a central space that engages not just visitors, but the community as well. So we are discussing, and we have some really great ideas.
I think it would be great in a future meeting maybe to bring some of those plans, if you're able, to coordinate that, just so the council could be involved or understand kind of what your vision is.
Absolutely. Yeah, we can absolutely put something together for the next meeting. Yeah, absolutely. Great. You got it. All right, any other questions? Okay, thanks you guys. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. I apologize again for that. Any other questions or comments for advisory committees from the Commerce, Chamber of Commerce or Downtown Woodland Revitalization? Ms. Dowdy.
Yes, I just want to say, because Mr. Belial normally also reports on Planners Day, they have selected our next 3 Planners Day princesses. So just to give that information since he's not here tonight.
Excellent. Good point. I am sure that we will see the princesses here at City Chamber one evening selling tickets. So I look forward to that and introducing them to all of us here. So good point there. Reports to city officers, moving into that. Upcoming events, City Council meeting on February 2nd at 7 p.m., City Council meeting on the 16th at 7 p.m., and then we will have a Planning Commission on the 19th. As far as remarks from the mayor, I did not prepare any tonight. I wanted to leave plenty of room because I know that we have 2 things where we've had plenty of citizen comment on, and that is the zoning in C2 and also the school impact fees. But I am more than happy to take questions or comments from anyone on council or in the community for anything that is out there. Hearing none, let's go into consent items.
Motion to approve consent items?
Second.
I have a first from Ms. Dowdy and a second from Mr. Frymark. Any questions or comments about the minutes that are in our consent agenda? Hearing none, Ms. Hogan?
Councilmember Dowdy,
Aye.
Councilmember Frymark,
Aye.
Councilmember Houston,
Aye.
Councilmember Friend,
Aye.
Councilmember DeLuz,
Aye.
Councilmember Michelson.
Aye.
Moving into the action items, action item C, approve vouchers, December 2025 final, December 2025 treasurer checks, and January first half of 2026.
Make a motion to approve action item C.
Second.
I have a first from Councilmember Houston and a second from Mr. Friend. Any questions or comments on any checks or payables in the last 30 days? Hearing none from the community or the council, Ms. Hogan.
Councilmember Michelson,
Aye.
Councilmember DeLuz,
Aye.
Councilmember Friend,
Aye.
Councilmember Houston,
Aye.
Councilmember Frymark,
Aye.
Councilmember Dowdy.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Moving into action item D, ordinance 1585, repealing ordinance number 1557, city council rules, first and final reading.
Motion to approve item D.
Second.
So we have a first from Councilmember Frymark and a second from Mr. Houston. Just so everyone understands, we still will have city council rules, but we're changing it rather from an ordinance into a resolution. So this here is the elimination of it as an ordinance, and then we will move it into a resolution. This was at the recommendation of our city attorney. Any questions or comments on this piece here? Ms. Hogan.
Councilmember Friend,
Aye.
Councilmember Houston,
Aye.
Councilmember Frymark,
Aye.
Councilmember Dowdy,
Aye.
Councilmember DeLuz,
Aye.
Councilmember Michelson.
The ayes have it. Moving into action item E, resolution number 813, adopting city council rules.
Motion to approve resolution 813, item E.
Second.
So I have a first from Councilmember Frymark, a second from Mr. Friend on council rules. Any comments or questions? There's a couple things that I would point out there. One, it's a lot of cleanup work, and the second is getting rid of the language around that community members are not able to speak after we have a first and a second. As you can see here, when we read this resolution, we get a first and a second, or we only get a first, but this will allow us more time and opportunity for our council or our community members to speak. So that's the one change that is in there that is taken out. And then the other is grammatical changes. So any questions or comments from the community or council members regarding resolution 813?
So we just moved the entire ordinance over to a resolution and then just took out those few words here and there, correct? It's not like just shortening it completely. Okay.
Correct. Yep, and that's why it was important. Even though we went from an ordinance to a resolution, I put the red line in there so you can see what items had changed.
Okay.
So it wasn't a total blow up here. Yep. Okay. Any other questions or comments on this? Ms. Hogan.
Councilmember Houston,
Aye.
Councilmember Frymark,
Aye.
Councilmember Friend,
Aye.
Councilmember Dowdy,
Aye.
Councilmember Michelson,
Aye.
Councilmember DeLuz.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Moving into action item F, authorize the mayor to sign the amended memorandum of understanding MOU with the Woodland Police Officers Association for the school resource officer.
Motion to approve the memorandum for the Woodland Police
Second.
Officer.
So I have a first from Ms. Dowdy and a second from Mr. Houston. So this here, we have an MOU with the Police Officers Guild for the SRO. We filled that position, and as we have had that position there, there was things that payroll and getting the number of hours worked, clerical type items there. We went and had conversations with the Police Officers Guild. The items that were important to them were the summer hours and different things like that, number of hours available. Obviously, we left those items in there, and we changed some of the things to help us with the payroll. Anything that you, Chief Gibbs, would like to throw in there? Was that a no?
No, everything you said is correct.
Okay. So any questions or comments from the community or city council on this amended MOU? And it's important to know we do have an SRO individual in the position still. So, okay, with that, Ms. Hogan.
Councilmember Friend,
Aye.
Councilmember Frymark,
Aye.
Councilmember Houston,
Aye.
Councilmember DeLuz,
Aye.
Councilmember Dowdy,
Aye.
Councilmember Michelson.
Aye.
Moving into action item G, ordinance number 1579, an ordinance providing the collection of school impact fees as authorized by Chapter 82.02, amending ordinance number 1431. First reading.
I'd like to make a motion to amend action item G.
Second.
You'll
What's the
need to
amendment?
state the amendment.
The amendment being the ordinance 1431, the school impact fees.
What are you amending, though?
I would like to discuss the amount, that I would like to amend the amount, or at least talk about it. I feel like this is a pretty big jump. This is a big
So
fee.
before you discussed, did we get so you said made a motion to amend it, so you would have to amend it. If you want to discuss it, you would want to make a motion to
Okay.
discuss it.
I'd like to make a motion to discuss it.
Okay.
Sorry. Second. I apologize.
Okay, so we have a first here to discuss these here, these fees.
And a second.
Second.
And I have a second from Mr. Houston to discuss. Okay. With that, Miss Hogan.
There's. Okay.
I need to take a roll on whether or not we have a Council 7 to.
Councilmember Dowdy,
Aye.
Councilmember Freimark,
Aye.
Councilmember Houston,
Aye.
Councilmember Friend,
Aye.
Councilmember DeLuz,
Aye.
Councilmember Michelson.
Aye.
Okay. I will open the conversation with you, Councilmember Michelson.
Okay. I understand that the school has not had, they've not raised the impact fees in 6 years. I totally get that. I do feel that what they are asking for at this time is a little excessive considering they haven't had anything raised. I am not against raising the impact fee. I think that it needs to be done. Right now, we're looking at approximately an 80% increase. I feel that's a little excessive to just hammer them like that. Washington State did just recently pass through one of the biggest tax increases that has really impacted small businesses as well. So I feel that it might be more beneficial to do gradual increases, maybe around 20% a year, 25%, somewhere in there, and then get to that point within 4 years or so. That's just an idea off the top of my head. I'm trying to make everyone feel heard and happy here. I have children in school, so it's important to me as well that these fees do get paid, but I just feel like, you know, we're a fairly new administration here, and after 6 years, all of a sudden here we come and here you go. That's a pretty big jump. So I just wanted to talk about that a little bit and see if we could, you know.
So I'll go to Mr. Friend and then I'll go over to Ms. DeLuz. So, Mr. Friend?
So my understanding of this is that we collect the impact fees on behalf of the school, but do we ultimately decide the impact fees, or is that the school board that decides what the impact fee is? We're just kind of the pass-through, collecting them through the city and then distributing them back to the school. Could you clarify that for me, Mr. Mayor?
So it's a formulaic calculation that is done here. We don't decide how those dollars are spent. We collect, I believe it's $160 administrative fee for collecting those dollars and passing them on. One thing I will say, the comment was made that these are impacting our businesses. The businesses are not increasing these impact fees. These are residential, commercial businesses or residential homes. So those new homes that are inside the city limits that are being built here today. So we have 300 homes going up. Those homes would be impacted if, again, I would have to ask the city attorney. I don't know that we can say, okay, let's do 20%, because again, we have to have a formulaic calculation on this. It's not something we can just, we think this should be our amount today. Is one. Two, again, those businesses are there. Something that I had a conversation, just for people to understand, I had a conversation, email exchange with Miss Riley, the superintendent, and we were looking at different numbers, different things that's happening. And about 1,400 kids in the school district come from outside the city. 1,000 kids come from inside the city. So these impact fees are, again, when you look at the dollars that were there, the $3 million, the new school obviously is going to cost, the high school costs $60 million. If you were to build a new elementary school, you're going to be at 60, 70 million. You have to use impact fees for new construction. So to give you an example, there is a portable over at North Fork Elementary. Eventually, as you put more portables out there, they're required to do improvements along 503 there. So they would be able to use the impact fee dollars there for improvements along 503 that obviously then would tie into the housing and subdivisions there. Something to think about. Again, not my decision. It's just one of those things to think about. Ms. DeLuz.
Okay, so this question is probably going to be for Mr. Goddard. If you, Amanda, if you can scroll to like the second to the last slide, And it says local jurisdictions in Clark County have adopted impact fee programs that require school districts to prepare and adopt capital facilities plans. Goes down a little bit further and it says districts' impact fees have been calculated utilizing the formula in the Clark County and the City of Woodland impact fee ordinances. Okay. So, Mr. Goddard, can you, I know that this is a really confusing topic for a lot of people, and I know that our little City of Woodland, we get tossed around like a rag doll a little bit. Would you clear that up? Because I'm under the understanding that we live in Cowlitz County, but we follow Clark County because we have 55 residents that are in Clark County. So therefore, the Growth Management Act, this right here, we're looking at impact fees. We're trying to do everything Clark County wants us to do because of these 55 people. Is that true?
So the way the growth management works is there's essentially two different kind of responsibilities. If you are in a fully planning growth management jurisdiction, it means you have to follow all the regulations that are laid out in the Growth Management Act. Cowlitz County is what's called a partially planning Growth Management Act jurisdiction, and they have to have a comprehensive plan, a critical area ordinances, and a couple other things that come along with that. So like all state regulations, it's a carrot and a stick. So Clark County has the stick because it has to fully plan, which means growth population projections, urban growth boundaries, but we also have a toolbox that includes some bonuses that we can use, and one of those is the impact fee ordinance. And basically what it means is we can figure out how much each new student costs, and new houses which cause new students, there's kind of a direct nexus between the new students and the cost to build them, but we have to focus that cost on the new facilities. We can't use new house money on old football fields or old classrooms. So there's that connection between the two. But really the difference is because Cowlitz County is partially planning, they don't have that tool in their tool belt.
Sure.
So the city collects impact fees. Clark County, so the students on the other side of the river that are in our school district, their homes have paid into, but the numbers appear to show that the 51% of our students that are not in Clark County or the city, all of those homes were built without those impact fees.
Okay. Just to finish my statement too, upon doing some research and stuff from California to Seattle, a more normal amount seems to be between 17 and 20%. And I just wanted to put that on the record. 50% increase to 80% increase is really a big strain on the community. And I think with the rate of inflation, contractors, it just all goes back to community members. That's who's going to end up paying for that, right?
New home buyers.
Contractors pass that impact fee on.
They pass it on to the home buyers who then have to pay more for their house.
That's what I'm trying to say. Thank you, Gabe. Okay.
I do have a couple community members who signed up to speak. So, Daniel, I believe.
Thank you. I've never done this in public, so hopefully you'll bear with me. My name is Daniel Soare. I live in Ridgefield, but I own several properties in Woodland, City of Woodland. In 2017, I bought Woodland Heights Apartments, and I turned those apartments around partially. Then the person that bought them from me 2 years later, they finished and turned those apartments completely. I've been planning to build 23 apartments over here by the middle school on 5th Street. And before I get to that, about 10 years ago, I've had that piece of property for about 10 years. And I looked into the impact fees overall, transportation, parks, and school, and they were $8,800. Today, those fees are $17,000. And with the increase, they're going to be $26,600 per unit. So we're talking if the fee increase, without the fee increase, those fees for the 23 apartments are $380,000. If the increase goes through, it's another $105,000. And right now, I spend about $900,000 on the whole project. I bought a house next door so I could do 23, and I don't even have a bank that I've secured that they're gonna loan me $3 million to build them. The overall cost is between $4 and $5 million. Planning Commission recommended that we pass this or get this ordinance passed because during this 1 year, because they talked about having Cowles County collect the impact fees, school impact fees, which I agree with. I mean, if your kids goes to Woodland School District, they should pay. So I'm not sure how all these years, all those homes that are being built in Cowles County do not pay school impact fees. I also own other property in Cowles County, so I've built 4 homes up on Bluff Road in Kalama. So I'm aware of having to pay impact fees, and I agree with them, but this is a little bit too much. The other thing, I listened to the Planning Commission online, and they say, oh, we need to pass this because during this 1 year, we could always bring that fee down. Have you ever seen a fee go down? I've never seen one. The only fee I saw or a tax that came down was when Tim Eyman brought the car tab down to $30. That's the only time I've seen government bring or fees come down. I only have a couple pages here. I just wrote these notes up when I came in. So the report, the school district report says that we're going to have an extra 161 students in 6 years. And now the Washington State, the attendance trends are down. I think it was $50,000, 50,000 students in 2023 or 24, and last year was to 9,000 down. My question is, has there been, and this is coming from an immigrant that came here in 1982 legally. Has there been any factoring into some of these kids leaving? That's the trend that we're going towards. So I'm not sure. I'm not saying don't build another school. I would like to see. They're saying $600 a square foot. I think we could do it between $300 and $400. We don't need some fancy building or anything like that. The other thing is at the Planning Commission, they mentioned that there's existing school space, like green space, and we could do a wing wall, or I think Resident Max mentioned. And the planning, someone from the school district says that you have to have certain amount of green space. Have they really looked to see if there's any room, or they're just saying, oh, there's no room, and we got to buy another piece of property and build a new school? In my opinion, this impact fee is not ready for prime time. I think they should be delayed for a year. I've been planning this project for a year, and to be hit, like I found out about this from Travis, and I appreciate him letting me give me the heads up. It's some middle of November, and I don't even have the money to buy the $380,000 permits today. I will have it in a couple of months, but if this impact fee goes through, then that means the whole project is going to cost an extra $105,000, and then guess where all the money is going to come from? The renters. So if you want affordable housing, you got to keep those fees down. The other thing is 2 more things. So as far as school savings, I think the school district should look into savings, and I'm throwing this out. I know it's an idea that no one's probably never thought about it. I went to private school for 2 years, 9th and 10th grade. We were poor. It's not like we were rich. We didn't have school bus service. So I'm thinking here, can we eliminate school bus service? I know it's not a big, for those that are using it, but what's wrong with the parents dropping off the kids on the way to work, dropping them off to school? I'm not sure if there's a law.
Well, we don't have anything to do with it. That's school board that
correct. Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's something to throw back to the school board, saying, can you do some savings? One more thing. one last thing. Government should do less so we can do more with our own money. One more time. Government should do less so we can do more with our tax money.
No, can I say something?
Sure.
I agree with you 100%. And if you're looking at it as an investor, all the profit you used to make on a spec home, you can't even do it anymore because it's eaten up in the fees. And you wonder why we haven't had a hotel built here in 20 years. Or new restaurants but they can't afford the fees.
I built 4 homes up on Bluff Road. My profit was between $30,000 and $50,000.
Yeah, and now that's impact fees.
Yep.
Eats all that 100% of it.
Yeah.
I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Again, let's remember, so this here is residential. So and how the school spends their money is outside of ours. So any comments or questions for Daniel there?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to say something here. We don't have Superintendent Riley from the Board of Directors or any of the directors from the school board here, do we?
No.
No.
I'd kind of like to hear a little bit from them as far as their justification goes. We have 5 out of 5.
Oh, we do.
Oh, we do.
Who do we have here?
We do have one.
I thought he asked if Asha was here.
Would you like to say anything or explain some of the reasoning behind this request?
He's asking a school board.
Yeah. You're director of the board?
Oh, she's a school board member.
Okay. Would you like to give us any of the thinking, the rationalization for the board in requesting this?
On what, Julie?
I mean, I've read all
The amount.
I read all the 404 missing monies and insufficient building material money and whatnot. But can you add anything to us to give a better explanation of why that's such a large request?
I can't right
Yeah.
now.
Okay.
We really haven't further gone into it at the school
Yeah.
board, but I will pass this along to the school, my next school board.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, yeah, Asha spoke at the Planning Commission meeting. Travis, do you want to chime in just a little bit there, or?
Sure. So a couple questions were asked at the Planning Commission meeting, specifically why the 400 student capacity for elementary. And generally that's kind of a school district generally accepted number, because part of it is when you're building a school, there are fixed costs that you have to come up with, and the number that comes up is 120 square feet per student, and at a building cost of about $600 per square foot. That's kind of how they came up with the number of $28,800,000 for the capital improvement program. Then the question about how much capacity is left in the system is they essentially have portables, plus they've moved the 5th grade to the middle school instead of the elementary school. So they kind of look at the grade sizes and how big the facilities are, and sometimes the 5th is in elementary, sometimes it's in middle school, because they look at how much room they have. But if you're going to invest in a school, building a school for 100 students doesn't, because you have fixed costs like the gym, the cafeteria, the library, and it's generally a little bigger if you have a lot more students, but it's not really much savings. So for example, the high school, they built the full gym, the full baseball fields, the full cafeteria, the full library, and one of the wings for 700 students, but they could add another wing for 200 students, and they wouldn't need additional gym space or the rest of that stuff. But with elementary schools, you can't really do that, kind of. So there's kind of fixed built-in costs to building an elementary school. So that's kind of why they wait for the 400. But in the meantime, in the years leading up to that, they are constantly switching and adjusting and changing it from middle school to intermediate school to junior high school to elementary. So that's why that is constantly changing, because they're juggling the size. But at some point, the school district recognizes that we can only keep portables so long before they have a lot of maintenance costs. And it makes sense to build a new school, because they can then potentially turn around and sell those temporary classrooms to other districts or repurpose them for some other use. So at some point they have to buy a new school, and there's enough capacity. So what they'll do is return everything to normal, and the middle school has extra room, the high school has extra room, and the elementary schools, now that there's 2 or 3 of them, they all have enough room that they're not crowded in there like sardines, and their class sizes are a little more reasonable because now they have that facility. So, but it's constantly, you don't wait until you have 400 students and then you take 6 years to build an elementary school. You really kind of have to decide now and start saving that money so that in 6 years, when the doors open, 100 of those 160 additional students are there, and now you have a little capacity in each school, and you can go for another 10 years without needing another school. So it's a constant juggling, and the unknown that was brought up, and that is what's going to happen to the enrollment if it goes down just because people are having less kids. That's part of the factor, but we're starting to see that for a couple reasons. One is generally there are less people having kids, but also we haven't had a lot of construction for the previous 6, 7, 8 years. But we've had a lot this year, and we're having a lot in the next 3 or 4 years. So we're kind of seeing the echo of no population because we don't have a lot of new homes. But there are a lot of empty homes that are looking for sellers, and as soon as they buy, come the start of next year, you're going to have all these students that are in empty homes, and this year's dip may be next year's boom. And the school district is trying to manage that. And when they look into their crystal ball, the reason why their increase was so steep is because 6 years ago when they did their capital facility plan, they looked into their crystal ball and it said, we need an elementary school. And because we didn't have a lot of growth, they haven't had to build it, but that's because they don't have the impact fees to get that process started. Now, the issue that is going to come up, and I know Bax and I talked about it, and that is the Cowlitz County, when I first got here, Superintendent Green told me that the county population or student population was 36% of our current students. In the 8 years since, they've done that research, and it's now 51%. So Cowlitz County percentage of the students has increased 15%. And so 51% of the students comes from households that haven't paid a cent of impact fees. Whereas the city has been paying its fair share, and Clark County have been paying their fair share, but our students are getting less and less, and we're carrying a larger and larger burden because we're contributing up front. And this is purely increase in cost of construction and building materials. So what was a $13 million school 6 years ago is now a $28, $29 million school today. And they're looking 6 years from now, it might be a $55 million elementary school. The question is, will we need it? Or the question is, will Cowlitz County pay its fair share?
Hey, Travis. I was just going to chime on one thing with Travis for a second, and then I'll turn it over to you, Ms. Michelson. So it's when we talk about people talk about growth in Woodland and all of those things, it's important to know since 2015, 2014 timeframe, we've had less than 50 permits for homes, new homes inside the city limits. Outside the city limits, if you could do it within a 10-mile radius, it's been over 400 to 500 that are out there. So that's where a lot of the growth has happened. Now we're all of a sudden, people are saying we don't want growth in Woodland. We don't, we want to keep it small. Here we have 100 homes coming in, and the impact fees are what's going to, impact them as that new home construction, because again, this is a real estate deal. So, Ms. Michelson.
This might be an ignorant question, but what is wrong with gradually increasing the impact fee every year? I mean, honestly, instead of just like 6 years there was nothing, am I right? And then all of a sudden, so what is the problem with doing a steady, something that's not going to be so harmful to builders?
So the Planning Commission wrestled with this question, and their fundamental concern was if they delay it, the school district will continue to lose ground. So rather than changing the number or recommending a delay, they felt the responsible position would be to follow the recommendation. But that was not an easy discussion because their point and part of their discussion was this cost of increase is not specifically a result of city development. Therefore, should the city bear the full cost of that? Yeah, so there's no reason why you couldn't pick an arbitrary number, higher or lower. The school district basically just used the formula that's in our code, and the number that comes out after you plug in the numbers, that's how they arrived at it.
Director, what do they mean by losing ground?
So so at $600 a square foot, 120 square feet, the cost per student for a new elementary school is $72,000. And when you use our calculation that's generally accepted across the state and is legally defensible because it was tested in court, when you run the calculation, the number comes out to 10,000 or 13,000, the numbers that are up there on the screen. That's essentially how the numbers calculate. If we continue to charge $5,900, which is what we've done for the last 6 years, based upon the exact same capital facility plan in 2019 dollars, as the cost of construction goes up, we are not even collecting 2025 construction dollars. If we're collecting 2019 construction dollars, the school district, it's assembling a pot of money, but it's not going to be enough for the $65 million elementary school in 2035, let alone the 2025 school.
So now are you speaking as our director of public works, and or is that your personal opinion or your professional opinion now? Because we need, none of us on the board, on the council have real expertise in this. I've had a fair amount of construction in my life, and I've always voted for almost anything school-wise because these are our kids. Most people, well, I think we all have kids in here one time or another, and I certainly wouldn't want to cheat them out of any. This might be one of the few occasions I agree with the planning council. As tough as it might be, I don't see a lot of other alternatives unless you could come up with something to convince us otherwise. I get the feeling that you think this is a probably good idea as our city director.
So that is my professional opinion based upon the planning commission decision. Maybe when you're done with this conversation, you might want to ask me that again,
I think we should wrap this
and I may
discussion.
give you my opinion.
That's all I need to know.
Councilmember Dowdy had a.
So I'll get to it. Were you going first, friend?
No,
Councilmember Friend? I saw your hand.
No, it
Oh,
was
Miss
for
Dowdy then.
Miss Dowdy.
Okay.
She had been trying to speak for a bit.
Yeah, I saw her hand up. Sorry.
All right, so I'm kind of in the middle here because, in my opinion, Woodland inside city limits does not have a lot left. And if we push it down the road a year, then we've lost even more of what we still have. And everybody knows I'm a big advocate for our students and our youth. So that being said, I do think it's a high number, and I think that Cowlitz County needs to step up, and I know that we have poked the bear lots and lots and lots over the last 4 years, plus even before that, to no avail yet. And so with that being said, it's unfortunate that Cowlitz County isn't acknowledging how much growth we have had outside of our city limits, but it's still part of our job is to make sure there is money to at least start a school fund. And right now, the growth that we have had since 6 years ago, pre-COVID to now, the amount of cost of living, the amount of materials, the amount of how much even minimum wage has gone up. 5900 was planning it 6 years ago, starting and building a fund that we could grow on and have interest on and all that. We've now lost 6 years, and our boom is right now. So I have a hard time not upping it because of all that has happened in the last 6 years. Do I think it needs to be quite as severe? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know where I quite stand, but I know that we're here today to talk about, do we do it in smaller increments? If we do 20%, it's still from 5,900 to 7,800. So if council as a whole doesn't want to go the full amount, 20% is 7,800. Do you want to look at it that way? I think we need to stop with the discussions of where we're going to get the money or who to blame and that kind of stuff, and look more at, if you want to make an amendment and not just vote the total amount, what do we want it to be? And so that's kind of where, with all of your discussion, I think we need to be talking about that now and not just where to put the blame and where to.
Mr. Friend, and then I'll go to you,
Okay.
Mr. Houston.
So
Mr. Friend?
I was gonna mention, I feel like a few meetings back we had a similar predicament with water and sewer, and we had a catch-up plan to get us to the current structure. So it wasn't like, oh, we're gonna arbitrarily do 20% or 30%. We said we know we need to be at this certain threshold by whatever time frame, and we kind of built that out and agreed upon a stair step to get us there. So it wasn't everything, but we knew we needed to get to that top end. So I don't know if that would be a reasonable approach for the planning commission to go back to and say, how could we do this reasonably over 2 years or 3 years, whatever that might look like. It might not be 20, it might be a 30% increase, but we know where we need to be, and it is a big leap from where we are today. So
Yeah. So, Mr. Houston, sorry.
I was just gonna say, maybe the school needs to look at their spending internally instead of trying to make the money on impact fees, restructures things they have already in place to get the funds somewhere else instead of trying to hit it all, on the impact fee. But
So this number, if you look at the housing developments that are there, so if you look at Holt Homes and the developments that are coming to Woodland and they're going to build there, they've already committed to come. If you were to raise your impact fee to $10,545 for the roughly 200 permits that are left, you're talking, just over $2 million. A new school, the high school, costs $60 million. So again,
that's not going to cover much.
Motion to end discussion.
Second.
okay, I have a first and a second. All right, Ms. Hogan. Go ahead. I had Max who wanted to speak, but go ahead. I have a first and a second. Take a vote, please.
Councilmember Dowdy,
Aye.
Councilmember Frymark,
Aye.
Councilmember Houston,
Aye.
Councilmember Friend.
we're just voting to end the discussion.
Correct.
Aye.
Yes.
Councilmember DeLuce,
Aye.
Councilmember Michelson.
Aye.
Motion to send this back to the planning commission to maybe develop a plan that would allow us to get here in a 4-year plan.
Second.
Okay. A conversation on that? So we have a motion to send back to the planning commission with a new amount.
I think that that large of a jump is a lot for those who have already bought property and want to build here to take on and hit without having to sell off or not build. And I think that's, if they know that it's coming, they can try to adapt with that. And I think if we have a plan, they at least know something's coming, but it's not all at once hit. So that's why I suggest that.
I agree with Councilmember Dowdy, and I do like Councilmember Friends bringing up what we talked about with utility. That's a great idea. I agree.
Okay, with that,
Mr. Mayor.
Ms. Hogan.
Mr. Mayor.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, like I said, I rarely agree with our planning commission 100%, but in this case, I think I'm going to have to. They should have been the one responsible to thoroughly vet this out and argue about it and come up with that alternative on it. Do we have any confidence in them? It was 5-0, as I recall here, and I'm putting more confidence in it, especially after Director I'd say we don't have any other choice but to proceed just as is on it here. If we cut this back, somebody's going to suffer, and I certainly don't want it to be our kids.
So,
These are
just
new
so you're aware,
residents only.
yeah, Mr. Freimark. So when we say go back to the planning commission, obviously, Travis and, staff, we're going to have to work through those, create different numbers and different scenarios and take it to the planning commission. Even if the planning commission approves something, you all don't have to approve it. If they deny it, you can approve it. And so again, there are just a recommendation there. The planning commission doesn't actually calculate the numbers and all of those. So it'll be something that, Travis and team will work on numbers and create different alternatives and scenarios for the planning commission. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I'm just
Okay.
saying that I'm ready to accept it as is, rather than postponing that. These are only.
But we have a motion.
Let's vote.
Yeah, we have a first and a second right now to send it back to the planning commission. So with that, I need to at least take a vote of the individuals there. Ms. Hogan.
Councilmember Dowdy,
Aye.
Councilmember Freimark,
Nay.
Councilmember Houston,
Aye.
Councilmember Friend,
Aye.
Councilmember DeLuce,
Aye.
Councilmember Michelson.
Aye.
Okay, with that action item does not pass tonight. I'm going back to my agenda. I was down in the weeds on it. Moving into action item H. Ordinance number 1584, allow for retail sale of marijuana as permitted use in the highway commercial C2 zone. First reading.
Motion to approve action item H.
Second.
We have a first from Councilmember Houston, a second from Councilmember Michelson. Any conversation or community comments? I do have a couple people in the room who would like to speak. The first one being Chris.
Well, hello, y'all. My name's Chris Crew. I was lucky enough to get a license from the state to start a marijuana store in your community, and I know there's two of us. Another gentleman who's also looking to start a store, and I'm under the impression you're only going to start one. And so I'd give you an opportunity at least to get to know myself and my partner a little bit, and ask you to consider allowing us to start one, for the reason being that although we're similarly situated, the difference is that the other gentleman who got one got it through like a random drawing, and whereas ours was given to us because we applied, and it was for cause. We were weighed against all the other applicants, and it was decided that we should get that license from the
That's
state.
not what we're discussing tonight. I just want
Well,
point of order.
oh, okay. Well, go ahead. Sorry, it's not.
I don't think you have any limits on what you speak about.
We need to have our pro tem actually
So-
address this.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know I was off topic. Is this not what this topic is about?
Well, I think the topic of this discussion was centered on the allowance or adding an amendment to Zone C2 to allow for the retail sale of marijuana, which doesn't exist today.
Yeah.
Not whether or not we'd allow one or two businesses to operate. So I think that might be where
Yes,
Councilmember
we're
Houston's
not
coming from.
discussing who gets the license or who gets just. We're talking about tonight strictly only are we going to allow it in the C2 zone, nothing else.
Well, I think we're all on at least the other applicant and I are both would like you to. I mean, pretty clearly, right? We'd love you to do that. And so I guess I am advocating on behalf of it. But I just hadn't met y'all. I wanted to give you an opportunity to see, you're going to have to, at some point, there's going to probably be one of us. And so I thought maybe you'd want to know maybe why you might choose one of us over the other, or why we're different. But maybe that's another day. I mean,
Yeah, so Mr. Crew,
That's it.
Mr. Crew, Mr. Deinhardt here, this is Todd. So yeah, again,
online.
the city doesn't get to choose who comes in. Yeah, the city doesn't get to choose who comes and goes here into the city. Again, that would be the Liquor Control Board here in the state of Washington with issuing the license and all of those. We're here just to determine whether or not our city wants to allow
Right.
retail
I'm not
marijuana
trying to-
sale in C2 zoning.
I got you.
So, all right.
I got you, and I'm just saying I'm one of the two people the state said could sell in your state, in your city.
Yep.
That's it. That's all I'm saying, and that I'm in favor of you allowing that. That's it. There you go.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments or questions for Mr. Crew? Max, I see you're next on the list.
All right, y'all. Thank you for having me. I'll stand sideways like this. As you know, we already met. My name is Max Bonder. I'm a resident here in our great city of Woodland. I'm a civil engineer by profession, and I must say, first things first, I'm a little bit bummed out I didn't get to speak on the school situation, but nonetheless, I actually had a pretty fantastic plan, but I can share that with all y'all later. So, on that note, on ordinance number 1584, I'll just read this verbatim, and then I'll say a couple things a little bit more informally. So, since the last hearing, I just want to say I have reviewed the applicable code provisions and the comprehensive plan, and my comments tonight reflect that review. I've also had the chance to meet with Travis and get more informed about the subject. For the record, I understand this application is not a project zoning text amendment, does not approve any specific site or building. My comments are focused on policy safeguards and the land use compatibility consistent with the staff report. I am not opposed to retail marijuana as a use, and I'm not advocating for or against any specific applicant. I want to begin to acknowledge that the City of Woodland already has a detailed regulatory framework for recreational marijuana in Chapter 17.50 of the Woodland Municipal Code that I've shared with you. I believe at the last hearing, when I was asking for this information, there was a lot of reference to the Washington rights statutes. Turns out, in my research, someone already did some of their work and put this into the Woodland Code. So, and that's also presented there. So we already have Chapter 17.50. That chapter makes it clear that marijuana regulation in Woodland is fundamentally about where uses may locate and what restrictions are necessary to prevent nuisance impacts, protecting surrounding neighborhood and ensure compatibility with nearby uses. Chapter 17.50 already relies heavily on distance-based compatibility-based regulation. Section 17.5.030 establishes 1,000 separation requirement from schools, parks, child care centers, libraries, and similar sensitive uses, and it explicitly prohibits marijuana uses from locating within residentially zoned districts or within any residential unit in the city. That structure reflects a clear policy determination by the city that proximity and land use compatibility matter for marijuana uses, regardless of whether those uses are otherwise permitted within the commercial zone. Because this proposed amendment would allow marijuana as a retail permitted use throughout the highway commercial C2 zone district citywide, I respectfully suggest additional objective compatibility standards should be evaluated and adopted at the same time rather than deferred or left unaddressed. And so the second attachment that I provided, this is actually Cowlitz County recreational standards. Cowlitz County has more experience than us. I believe they have more recreational facilities already established. So Cowlitz County Recreational Marijuana Code provides a practical example of compatibility measures designed to manage impact in urban mixed use environments. These measures are not safety-based prohibitions. They are land use tools intended to prevent nuisance conditions and reduce conflicts. First, the county requires a minimum of 250-foot separation from any residence located on the property, measured from the marijuana facility, building, or associated parking area. This buffer helps create helps address the impact that most commonly affects residents, including noise, lighting, late night activity, or loitering concerns. In Woodland, where the portions of the C2 zoning district directly abut established residential neighborhoods, this type of separation would provide predictability and reassurance for residents while still allowing retail marijuana to operate in the commercially appropriate areas. Second, the county also requires a 300-foot separation between marijuana retailers, measured property line to property line. This standard limits clustering, which can intensify traffic volumes, parking demand, visual impacts, and can change the character of the commercial corridor more quickly than anticipated. For Woodland, retailer spacing would allow the city to manage incremental change along with within the highway commercial corridor and avoid concentrated impacts in small number of locations. Third, the county requires screening, buffering that to mitigate the visual impacts surrounding properties through vegetation, landscaping, or equivalent measures while allowing appropriate retail visibility for public areas. This approach is specifically relevant to C2 properties that abut residential zones, park, schools, or directly aligns with and this directly aligns with the comprehensive plan's direction to minimize offsite impacts without discouraging economic activity. So taken together, these three measures do not prohibit marijuana retail. They provide a clear, predictable standard that balances economic development with neighborhood compatibility and reduce conflict during the permitting and operating process.
Excuse me, I just want to let you know you're above the 5-minute mark, so
okay.
if you could.
Gotcha. So just for the record, so I just respectfully asked the council to explain on the record. So last time when I brought this up, I asked if we can implement some compatibility measures. So for the record, I'm just asking with regards to residential separation, retailer spacing, and screening, which are used by Cowlitz County and other surrounding jurisdictions. So why are these not being evaluated or incorporated as part of this amendment? And how that amendment, as written, aligns with the Woodland Comprehensive Plan in chapter. So if Cowlitz County incorporated this, and this is more...
Hey, Max.
Yeah.
So your questions there, those are the same ones that you wrote in, I believe, correct?
That is correct, yes.
And I sent those all to the council members. So I want to turn it over to Travis for a minute to respond to those questions. And I believe you spoke with Travis today, correct?
That is correct. Can I ask a question real quick to Travis before we get started? I'm just curious.
Go ahead, Mr. Houston.
If these, a lot of these things he's talking about, I'm not sure whether they're for the growing versus retail store. Like, you know, understand what I'm saying? Are they referring to, a lot of these are for grows, not retail shops, I believe. I could be wrong.
So part of the issue that he's bringing up, issues like screening, are something that we address through our site plan standards. So all of our commercial districts have landscaping standards. And I think part of the reason why it's specific in Cowlitz County may be because they simply are dealing with such a large area as opposed to we have a very concentrated jurisdiction. So whether it's somewhere at a random I-5 interchange or whether it's somewhere adjacent to Woodland's urban growth boundary or Kalama's or Longview, Kelso, they are dealing with such a broad variety because they may not have other landscaping standards. They may have felt it was warranted here. And I agree with Max, it is warranted, but it's warranted on all commercial and industrial, and we currently enforce it. But for example, the site that 20 after 4 Paradigm is, because they are not triggering a site plan review, they wouldn't trigger new landscaping standards. But if they chose to do landscaping, that would be voluntary. Whereas if this was an empty lot and they were going to build a store, they would have design standards and landscaping standards and parking standards.
Ms. DeLuz.
I apologize if this is just a little bit off topic, but one of the things that I see keep coming up is people talk about signs in the windows and you know, pot leaves and things like that. I drive by, and I know it's not just about 20 after 4, but I drove by that all the time, and I don't ever remember seeing anything like that on that building. Travis, was there ever a violation that would cause this kind of concern with the city that they got fined for because they had things up that they weren't supposed to?
They did not. They had violations for other issues that were not related to that. And my understanding is there are state standards that they can't display stuff like that. And I would, if I got a complaint about visibility, I would look at the RCWs. But our signs are regulated under our sign ordinance. And we cannot, at the local level, we cannot regulate signage based on its content. So if the state has those standards as part of the licensing, it would be the state's responsibility to ensure that that stuff cannot be shown or distributed outside of the license.
Anything else, Travis, you want to respond to about Max's email or comments?
So the issue of the additional area where it could be additional setbacks from residences, again, because we are a smaller jurisdiction and we are more urban or compact development, something like a 250 foot setback, I would need to get into the GIS system and figure out what that would do. Attached to this ordinance previously was a map of how our zoning is affected by that, so I can pull that up if you want to take a look at it. But if we were to add something like a 250 foot setback from residential uses, we, because of the age of our community and our zoning standards, we have residences like behind the grocery outlet. We have residences next to the Safeway, and we have residences, you know, up and down the Lewis River Road. And it may very well be that if you add that 250 foot type buffer, that there would be no C2 zoning, in which case, why would you change it and then create other hurdles that would prevent permission? So you could look at different boundaries, but something like a 250 is justifiable under the ordinance, but whether or not it would work for Woodland versus Cowlitz County, where you may have 20-acre parcels or 100-acre farms, and the idea is you wouldn't put in a shop next to a farmhouse. It has to be at least 250 feet away from the closest residence. I think that may be more of a rural issue for the county rather than urban issue for the city.
And I can understand those big setbacks when you're talking about a place that where they're growing it and you can the smell and you can smell it. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, but I don't think you have those issues with retail. But
That answered my question too, because that was kind of the same line of thinking about our urban area. So yeah.
So Max pointed out that you hadn't asked about the question of separation between retailers.
Well, I think that is, that's a different situation because at this time only one actual license for the city is issued, and anything else would have to come before council with any other licenses to allow that. So I think that you can look at that on a case-by-case basis rather than have it in our code, in my
Also,
opinion.
We don't have a whole lot of retail commercial space right now as it is in those zones. So that's something else that I looked at heavily when we're looking at that map. How many actual commercial retail spaces do we have? Not that many.
So anything else for that? Because I do have another person that was signed up to speak.
I think we just have somebody from
Eric?
Oh.
I know
Oh, sorry.
Marie had raised her hand as well.
We'll get to Marie in a second. We'll do Eric on the list first, and then we'll go to others in the room who aren't on the list.
Hello, I'm Eric Summers, longtime resident of Woodland, lived here 20 years, and I drive by where the marijuana shop has been located previously, and I guess the only thing I really wanted to say is that I wanted to voice my opinion. The way I feel is I'm opposed of it. I would not like to see it in C2 zoning. So just came here to voice my opinion and let you know how I stand on that. So thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Excellent, sir. Any questions or comments for Mr. Summers? That being said, anyone in the room, I know that Miss Woodage is there, so come on up, Marie.
Could you approach the podium, please?
first of all, my name is Marie Woodage. I am on the school board, so I will be attending these meetings, and we'll take any questions back to the school board, and we'll be able to present any of your comments. So I do appreciate it, your questions. I just want to ask, if it wasn't for Brittany's comments or questions on the school impact fees, that the supporting packet wouldn't have been shown. Because you did show it because we asked. So am I supposed to believe that we're supposed to read all these packets before we come to the meeting? Like the supporting packet for the retail sales, the first reading,
Sorry
I
to
would have
interrupt.
liked to have seen it on the board.
We've moved topics to another topic. I don't know if we can really go back because we're on a different
So-
topic.
Okay, I'm just questioning why I would like to see the packet right there on the board.
It's available before the meeting, 5
Yeah.
days before the meeting to read.
So Marie, we post
Online?
the
That's where we all read.
yes.
You click that.
Okay,
Marie,
it'd
we
just be
post this
nice to be
online
here.
every third.
It'd just be nice
Yeah,
to be
Marie,
on.
we post
Go on.
we post it online every Friday, so it is out there for the community to see. Again, we can post it on the screen there to make it easier going forward if that would help people.
Marie, if
All
you're
right.
on Facebook, I do post online. I try to post the agenda, a link to it. So if you're on Facebook, I try to post
Yeah,
that too.
I mean, just like that. That would have been nice to have right up.
I agree. That's.
You know,
I
while
think
I'm
it is
reading
nice
it,
to have on
same
the board.
I agree with you. Yeah.
Same with the school. I took a picture of that. Would have been nice. It wasn't hard to bring it up, and I appreciate that.
No,
So
I
thank
agree.
you.
I agree.
So that's my only comment, is to just have these very visible for the audience to see.
Yep. And if you go to Woodland or City of Woodland News, there is a Facebook site that we have where you can find this as well posted. Okay. Any other? Go ahead, Ms. Dowdy.
So on this issue, I know it's been a hot topic. I know that everybody thinks that, oh, the voters have spoken because of people changing positions on council, but I still feel very strongly that this needs to be taken to a vote to the citizens and on a ballot rather than us as individuals on council doing it to our own agenda. So I'm just saying that, and I've always said it. In the last 4 years, I've continued to say it, and I've pushed for it. I know there's a difference opinion of spending the money, but we did fine somebody for opening because it wasn't appropriate. Why not use some of the money we collected to actually let the citizens have the voice and not us? That's my opinion.
I would agree with you.
So hold on a second. So Ms. DeLuz, we have a comment from you, but I just want to be clear. We have a first and a second on this action item here already. So we will have to take a vote, but Ms. DeLuz, go ahead.
I'll yield.
What was that?
I will yield.
She's ready to vote.
Okay. Anyone else in the room that would like to speak? I'm not hearing one. I'm not seeing one. Any other conversation, council members, before Ms. Hogan does a vote? Ms. Hogan.
Councilmember Dowdy.
No.
Councilmember Freimark.
Yes.
This is to approve the ordinance as written. Councilmember Houston.
Aye.
Councilmember Friend.
Aye.
Councilmember Michelson.
Aye.
Councilmember DeLuz.
Aye.
With a vote of 4-2, that passes.
Make a motion to end the meeting.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Good night, everyone.